Good afternoon. On behalf of the St. Joseph's Hospice team, I would like to welcome you this afternoon's memorial service. We'd like to thank you, the family, caregivers, and friends, for the privilege of entering into your homes and lives, and for allowing us to walk part of your journey with you. You and your loved one have touched our hearts. We come together today as we understand that there are many stages of grieving and that the holidays can be especially overwhelming with feelings of sadness, frustration, or anger. But we also know that grief can be beautiful and profound. We invite you to not be afraid of grief, but to embrace it and walk alongside it. Grief never ends, it just changes. It's not a passage, not a place to stay. It's a passage, not a place to stay. Grief is neither a sign of weakness nor a lack of faith. It is the price we pay for love. After the service has concluded, we invite each family to come up and take home a small gift in memory of your loved one. You are also invited to the social gathering in the community room immediately following the service for holiday treats and beverages. I would like to take this moment to thank our volunteer and bereavement coordinator, Wendy Deering, and our many volunteers who make this day possible, along with our vocalist, Wanda Miller, and musical accompaniment, Kathy Tanner.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's good to be here. It's good to be here. Today in the Christian calendar, it is the third Sunday in the season of Advent. That season of Advent, on the third Sunday, we celebrate what is known as Gaudete Sunday. The term Gaudete is derived from the Latin word for rejoice. Rejoice, Gaudete. Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I say, rejoice. The theme of the day is to express joy and anticipation at the approaching of the Christmas celebration. As in Lent, during the season of Advent, we are asked in the church to be a little more introspective. Maybe we give something up, maybe we pray a few extra prayers, getting our internal house clean and in order for the coming of the greatest guest ever. On Gaudete Sunday, we take a break from the fasting or from the giving up. And on this day, we celebrate. It's a day of celebration and joy. Celebration and joy. Celebration and joy. How do we, who are gathered here today, I include myself in that community, how do we, who are in a period of mourning, find celebration and joy? For many, this is a particularly difficult time of the year to be mourning the death of a loved one. We find all around everybody else is happy. And for us, we've decorated the beautiful Christmas tree, and it's as though one bulb burnt out, and the whole string went out, and there's no physical, realistic, easy way to find that one bulb that burnt out. And so on your Christmas tree this year, you're going to just have to have one strand of lights that doesn't light up. You have to deal with it when the season is over. Isn't that kind of how it feels sometimes? Just something isn't right. Something didn't go the way I planned. Didn't go the way I wanted it to. I don't know, we go shopping. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your hearts be light. Next year all our troubles will be out of sight. Really? Fa la 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 la. We feel the tears pad against our cheeks, bat them away with our eyelashes. Merry Little Christmas. Have a Merry Little Christmas, bah humbug on that. Bah humbug. It hurts too much. I don't feel like being merry and bright. I don't feel like rocking around the Christmas tree this year. It's okay. The Christmas tree, at least at my house, is the focal point. It's the place where all the gifts are put. It's the place we gather. And yet I can remember the first Christmas I celebrated with my new wife 16 years ago. We traveled all the way to Minnesota. We got to the house. We sat before the tree. And my mother-in-law said, well, we went to the doctor. There's nothing more that can be done. I've had a good life. She was 60 years old. Come on. Hospice, that word was spoken. There was stunned silence. 16 years ago, I still cry. And there were tears. And we wept. We opened the presents, of course. We had a fine meal, but it was more somber. We still weep after 16 years. She would have been a good grandmother to my children. She never got to be. Another woman holds that role. But that woman is nice, she's not my mother-in-law. You guys have similar feelings, I know. It was 1861, 2 years before this poem was written, Christmas Bells by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. He had a personal piece shaken out of his life. His second wife of 18 years, whom he very devotedly cared for, died unexpectedly. His wife, Fanny, tragically got her clothes caught on fire. He was rested from his nap. To find his wife in flames, he ran, grabbed a rug, and threw it on her to beat out the fire. Then he took his own body, trying to beat out the fire. She lasted but a day. He, if you ever see pictures of Longfellow, has a really long beard. The long, long beard was to cover the burn marks on his face that he received. Then it was December 1st. He got a letter from his son. Against father's wishes, the son joined the Union Army. He was injured. Incorrectly, he was told, Longfellow, that his son was shot in the face. Instead, the son was nearly paralyzed at the Battle of Mine Run. December 1st, that letter came. What follows is the poem, Christmas Bells. I heard the bells on Christmas Day, their old familiar carols play, and wild and sweet the words repeat of peace on earth, goodwill to men. And though how, as the day had come, the belfries of all Christendom had rolled along the unbroken song of peace on earth, goodwill to men, till ringing, singing, on its way. The world revolved from night to day, a voice, a chime, a chant sublime. Peace on earth, goodwill to men. It was as if an earthquake rent the hearthstone of a continent and made forlorn the household born of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Longfellow continues, and then in despair, I bowed my head. I said, there is no peace on earth, I said. Hate is strong, it mocks the song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. And finally, then pealed the bells more loud and deep. God is not dead, nor doth he sleep. The wrong will fail, the right will prevail. With peace on earth, goodwill to men. Sisters, brothers, Christmas is coming. It cannot be stopped. A mix of emotions, joy one moment, sorrow another, maybe even anger at times for the loss that you have experienced. As I said, Christmas will come, the tree is here, the wreath is there, the Advent candles are there. In The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, Dr. Seuss, he says, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I put up with it now. I must stop Christmas from coming, but how? And he tried. He took away the gifts, he took away the decorations, he took away the food, he took away the toys. And then, it still happened. The sun came up. The day began. All the Who's down in Whoville in celebration took hands and celebrated. From the beginning, the joy of Christmas was tinged with grief. The wise men brought gifts of gold and incense and myrrh, gifts for a king, a priest, and oddly, materials for embalming a body. And yet the Messiah was born. There was no extinguishing that candle. Isaiah 60 verse 1 says, arise now, shine, the light has come. The glory of the Lord has risen upon you. Sisters, brothers, cry if you must. Skip the party that is entirely just too much. But do not forget to celebrate what is most important. We have a certain hope that your loved one has ascended to a far greater place than anything earthly, precisely because of what took place in Bethlehem so many years ago. Take hope, my friends. Be of good cheer.
We light these candles today in honor of our loved ones no longer with us. We light one for our grief. The pain of losing them is intense. It reminds us of the depth of our love for you. We light one for our courage to confront our sorrow, to comfort each other, to change our lives. The third candle is for the light of memory. Times we laughed, times we cried, times we were angry with each other, silly things you did, and caring and joy that you gave us. We light the fourth candle for love. As we enter this holiday season, day by day, we cherish the special place in our hearts that will always be reserved for you. We thank you for the love that you brought to each of us. And the center candle is for life. It represents living and loving that brings light and warmth to our hearts. May its glow symbolize the renewal we must seek as we continue life without our beloved and strive to walk on. Let's remember, celebrate, and honor our loved ones today.
Marion Anderson. Richard Anderson. Dorothy Baldeschweiler. Cheryl Ballou. Thomas Bursa. Robert Bogstead. Jeanette Bohack. Laylee Boos. Irma Bovey. Margaret Brain. Kenneth Briggs. Karen Bavala. Jeffrey Calkins. Bruce Campbell. Sharon Carmen. Peng Chang. Janet Chara. James Childs. Pearl Christian. David Clare. Doris Clark. Doris Conley. Betty Davis. Pauline Davis. Gregory Duvall. Marie Delotito. Janine Eckert. Janet Faulkner. James Fenno. June Finch. Shirley Fleshauer. Lorraine Foyles. Charles Freeberg. Mary Gallick. Merlin Garretts. Shirley Getsky. Gladys Goldsmith. Sharon Granger. Lowell Green. Douglas Gullickson. Terry Gray. David Grunwald. Marguerite Haas. Darlene Hallam. Scott Ham. David Hancock III. Jean Hancock. Ann Hansen. Lydia Hogg. Ellery Helland. Timmy Helen. Kathleen Henning. Helen Holst. Angeline Hulls. Jeffrey Joaz. Kathleen Johnson. Cheryl Kern Simarenko. Helen Clay. Marie Clokey. Donna Knudsen. Florence Korn. Francis Kinsella. Vernetta Kroll. Janet Kress. Patricia Lancet. Janet Langto. Donald Larson. Ray Larson, Jr. Stephen Lauer. Don Leifheit. Brenda Leaf. Donna Leckman. Rebecca Leckman. Joseph Leverty. Shirley Lydell. Patricia Lloyd. Deborah Mahurin. Eno Martino. Donald Matchy. Patrick McGreary. William Meyer. Earl Meyer. David Noland. Donald Olson. Drusilla Pace. Robert Palmquist Sr. Margaret Pardum. Jean Peck. Eileen Pingle. Lenore Quigg. Arlene Przbilski. Lloyd Ramsier. Reverend Charles Reed. Gerald Reigert. Jesse Wren. Miguel Rivera. Antonia Rock Lenz. Marvin Rochelle. Barb Rochelle. Shirley Schruffler. Reverend Joseph Schultz. Gary Sherrill. Robert Smith. Curtis Studley. Monty Teague. John Thompson. Patricia Tonkoviak. Janet Weber. Dennis Weiss. Keith Wergland. Marguerite Werner. Benjamin Williams. Jean Whitwer. Ronald Woodford. Aaron Wright. take a moment to remember all names, including those unspoken and those families who could not be here. The lighting of these candles signifies the remembrance of those gone on before. Let this light signify their ever-present love and memories in our hearts.
There's a peace I've come to know, though my heart and flesh may fail. There's an anchor for my soul. I can say it is well. Jesus has overcome, and the grave is overwhelmed. The victory is won. He is risen from the dead, and I will rise when he calls my name. No more sorrow, no more pain. I will rise on eagle's wings before my God, fall on my knees and rise. I will rise. There's a day that's drawing near, when this darkness breaks to light, and the shadows disappear, and my faith shall be my eyes. Jesus has overcome, and the grave is overwhelmed. The victory is won. He is risen from the dead, and I will rise when he calls my name. No more sorrow, no more pain. I will rise on eagle's wings before my God, fall on my knees and rise. I will rise.
For all of those of you who have received a phone call, wondered if it was a telemarketer, your announcement was probably "Hospital Sisters," and then listen to a complete stranger ask you if you want to talk about it. I'm Wendy. I'm the one who has called you. Or you've opened mail from St. Joseph's wondering what bill you missed, what's coming now, to find an article about grief and loss. I'm the one who's sending those to you, and I'm so glad to do so. And I'm thinking about you today and thankful that you took some time to come and join us today. Get to see each other's faces. I've been blessed by talking and sharing with each of you. I've been blessed to hear your stories and listen to your hearts. Many of you have been blessing someone for a long time. You've been providing care to some loved one. And now that caregiving is done. And I take a moment to honor you. There's a book called The Caregiver's Book written by James Miller, and it says this: there were days when your spirits sagged, when your anxiety peaked, when the hours were long and the rewards were few. There were times when your loved one might have been very difficult to care for. Perhaps their anger and frustration got taken out on you. There were times when what was asked for was far more than what you had to give. Yet, and you may attest to this, your caregiving might have been one of the most meaningful things you have ever done. You helped another as you would like to be helped. You did for another what they could not do without you. You witnessed their journey from life here on earth to life beyond. When you are early in your grief journey, it is difficult to realize any gains or growth from what you're experiencing. As you progress and as the pain softens, you will hopefully experience a new awareness that whatever your loved one gained from your caregiving, you have gained as much, and perhaps even more. In the act of comforting, you will be comforted. In the act of part of you dying with another, you will be reborn. In being a blessing, you will be blessed. And you may realize, if you don't already know, that you are cared for on the grandest scale possible. And so today, as we remember your loved one, I also honor each of you. And calls from me might not be quite as strange now. Just about done today, and I'm so thankful for all this time. I'm going to read a poem. I'm going to read a poem, actually. You're going to get the opportunity, if you'd like to say the words, "We remember them." It's the title of the poem. At the end of each line. At the rising sun and at its going down, we remember them. At the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember them. At the opening of the buds and the rebirth of spring, we remember them. At the blueness of the skies and in the warmth of summer, we remember them. At the rustling of the leaves and the beauty of autumn, we remember them. At the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them. As long as they live, as long as we live, they too will live, for they are now a part of us, as we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we have decisions that are difficult to make, we remember them. And when we have a joy that we crave to share, we remember them. When we have achievements that are based on theirs, we remember them. For as long as we live, they too will live, for they are now a part of us, as we remember them. As we conclude our service, I thank you again for joining us, and I welcome you to join us for refreshments afterwards. We also have a little gift for everyone. Bless you all for coming. Bless you all.